You're probably aware that there's a major stir happening right now, and it has to do with the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB. The trial has sparked a firestorm of controversy, and now Igbo-American veterans have come out swinging, blasting Judge Omotosho over how he's handling Kanu's case. This has been brewing for a while, but now it's reached new heights. The veterans are accusing the court of not following proper legal procedure. They claim that the law under which Kanu is being tried no longer even exists. There's a lot of legal talk flying around, but in layman's terms, they're saying that the trial is flawed from the start. They even say that Kanu's rights are being violated, that the process is a violation of the Nigerian constitution. Now, let me tell you, this is no small issue. Nnamdi Kanu has become more than just a person on trial. For many people, especially in the southeast of Nigeria, he's become a symbol. His arrest and trial have sparked protests, raised questions about Nigeria's political future, and put a spotlight on issues like ethnicity, fairness, and national unity. Many people view Kanu as a champion of the Igbo cause, while others see him as a criminal, a separatist who's stirring up trouble. It's deep and it's personal for many Nigerians. What's even more concerning is the involvement of Igbo-American veterans. They're not just sitting back and watching this unfold, they're speaking up. These veterans are a part of the Igbo diaspora in the United States, and they've got a lot to say about the fairness of Kanu's trial. They claim that the trial is a continuing judicial travesty. They're saying that if Kanu is convicted, it will not be fair, it's a setup for failure, and it could have long-term consequences for the Nigerian legal system. In a recent statement, the veterans accused Judge Omotosho of ignoring basic legal principles. They say the law that Kanu is being tried under has been repealed, yet the court is still proceeding as if it's in effect. This raises a big question about the fairness of the process. How can you try someone under a law that doesn't exist? That's what the veterans are saying, and they are calling on international bodies like the United Nations to step in and monitor the trial to make sure that Kanu gets a fair hearing. Now, to really understand why this matters, we need to take a step back and look at what's happening in Nigeria. The case of Kanu is not just a trial, it's a political flashpoint. Nigeria has a long and complicated history with its ethnic groups, especially the Igbo, and this trial has become a symbol of that ongoing tension. Kanu's arrest in 2015 and subsequent extradition to Nigeria were highly controversial. Many people saw it as an overreach of power, especially given that Kanu's calls for secession were not unique to him, but tied to a long history of grievances from the southeast region. This trial in many ways is a test of Nigeria's commitment to the rule of law. Is the judicial system really as impartial and fair as it should be? Or are we seeing a system that's influenced by politics, personal interests, and a desire to maintain the status quo? The veterans are saying loud and clear that if the trial continues the way it's been going, Kanu won't get a fair chance. They want the court to respect constitutional rights, to resolve the question of jurisdiction, and to stop using laws that are outdated. And let me be clear, this isn't just a legal battle, it's also an emotional one. For many people in the Southeast, Kanu's case isn't just about the rule of law, it's about their identity, their history, and their future. The IPOB movement, which Kanu leads, has been a thorn in the side of the Nigerian government for years. But at the same time, many people in the Southeast see Kanu as someone who's standing up for their rights, someone who's challenging a system they feel has long neglected their needs. But the legal questions here are very important. If the court doesn't address the issues raised by the veterans, then what does that say about the future of the Nigerian legal system? If the court is allowed to proceed with a trial that many believe is being conducted under outdated laws, will that set a dangerous precedent for future cases? Can anyone in Nigeria ever feel confident that their trial will be fair and unbiased if the system itself is shown to be flawed? In the latest updates, Kanu's legal team has said that they've had trouble getting full access to the case file, and that delays in getting the necessary information have made it difficult for them to mount a proper defense. This is another major issue.
How can someone defend themselves if they don't even have all the necessary facts and documents? The court has been giving Kanu chances to defend himself.
But the longer these delays continue, the more people are going to question whether this is about justice or just about making sure Kanu is convicted. The international community is watching too. The veterans have made it clear that this isn't just a Nigerian issue. It's a global one. The trial of Nnamdi Kanu raises fundamental questions about human rights, fairness, and justice. This is why they are calling for international bodies to step in and ensure that Kanu's trial is not tainted by political interference or legal missteps. The spotlight is on Nigeria now, and the world is watching to see whether the country can live up to its commitments to justice and fairness. Now let's pause and think about this for a second. What does this trial mean for the future of Nigeria? If Kanu is convicted under questionable legal practices,
what message does that send? Will it further alienate the Southeast region, making things even more tense and divided? Or will Nigeria step up, admit the flaws in the case, and make sure that Kanu gets a fair trial? This is where it gets really interesting. Because beyond the politics and legal battles, there's a larger issue at play. Can Nigeria move beyond its ethnic divisions and come together as a nation? The case of Kanu is one of many, but it's become a flashpoint for deeper issues that have been simmering for decades. How Nigeria deals with this case could shape the country's future in ways we can't even predict. So, what's next? Well, Kanu is still in the courtroom and the battle is far from over. The legal arguments are still being fought, and it's hard to say where things will end up. But one thing is for sure, the eyes of the world are on Nigeria right now. The decisions made in this trial could have a lasting impact on the country's reputation, its legal system, and its future as a united nation. All right, let's keep going. As we dig deeper into this situation, it's essential to recognize that this trial isn't just about one individual. It's about a larger symbol of resistance, identity, and the ongoing political struggle within Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu represents more than just a separatist leader to many. For some, he is the embodiment of a long-standing fight for Igbo rights and for self-determination. His arrest and the legal battle that has followed have stirred up old wounds that trace back to the Biafran War. So, when people speak about Kanu's trial, it's not just about the legal aspects. It's about the historical and cultural tensions that exist. Many in the Southeast believe that the Nigerian government has always treated the region unfairly, and they view Kanu's actions as a response to that marginalization. Whether you agree with his methods or not, you can understand why so many people see him as a hero for their cause. But the question remains, how far is too far when it comes to calling for independence? That's where the conflict between national unity and regional autonomy comes into play. The Nigerian government insists on maintaining the unity of the country, but the people in the Southeast have their own grievances, and they've been vocal about it. This trial, unfortunately, is at the heart of that division. And then we have to talk about the international implications.
When Igbo-American veterans speak out about the trial, it sends a message that the diaspora is watching. These veterans are not just a small group. They represent a network of people who feel deeply connected to the events back home, and they are adding pressure for this case to be handled properly. These voices abroad bring a unique perspective because, let's face it, they've lived in a different legal and political environment, one that places a high premium on individual rights and justice. When they raise their voices, it's not just an opinion from afar, it's a reminder that the eyes of the international community are on Nigeria. This case is now becoming a diplomatic issue as much as it is a legal one.
The calls for international oversight of Kanu's trial suggest that the veterans believe that the Nigerian legal system cannot be trusted to handle this case fairly, which is a powerful statement. It implies that there's an inherent distrust of the judicial system in the eyes of those who are supposed to be overseeing Kanu's case. What happens next in this case could reshape the narrative around Nigeria's legal system. If the trial continues without addressing the fundamental issues raised by the veterans, issues like the repeal of the law under which Kanu is being tried and the handling of jurisdiction, it could undermine the credibility of the courts and the government. There's already significant tension in the region, and any perception that the system is flawed will only deepen those divides. Let's not forget that this case is also a major moment for Nigeria's relationship with its own people and the rest of the world. The country is already facing challenges in terms of governance and internal unity. The Kanu case is not an isolated incident. It's part of a broader pattern of dissatisfaction, especially in the Southeast. This trial could either reinforce the perception that the government is out of touch with its people, or it could be a turning point where the government shows that it's willing to listen to the grievances of the Igbo and address them in a fair and transparent manner. As this plays out, it's also worth considering the role of social media and public opinion. With so much of the world watching, social media has amplified the voices of those who support Kanu, those who are against him,
and those calling for fairness in the judicial process. The conversations happening online will influence how people perceive the trial, both inside Nigeria and abroad. These online voices add to the pressure on the Nigerian government to handle the case with care. At the same time, the Nigerian government is in a tough spot. On one hand, they're dealing with a person who's been accused of leading a movement that calls for the disintegration of the country, and that's not something that can be taken lightly. On the other hand, they're facing significant pressure from the international community and now from diaspora groups to ensure that Kanu receives a fair trial, a trial that follows the law and respects the Constitution. As the trial continues, it's hard to say where things will land.
Kanu's team has already made strong claims about the trial's unfairness, and with every day that passes without the fundamental issues being addressed, those concerns only grow louder. The pressure is mounting on Judge Omotosho and the Nigerian government to show that they are committed to fairness and the rule of law. And then there's the elephant in the room. What happens if Kanu is convicted? If he's found guilty under a law that may no longer be valid, will it be seen as a miscarriage of justice? Will the decision stand, or will it be appealed and overturned? Could this become a case that the international community gets involved in? These are questions that no one has clear answers to yet, but the world is definitely paying attention. Now, let's think about what this all means for Nigeria's future.
The Kanu case isn't just about one person, it's about the direction of the country. Nigeria is at a crossroads, and how it handles this trial could set the tone for future cases, especially in terms of ethnic relations, regional autonomy, and the rule of law. If the Nigerian courts cannot deliver a fair trial in this high-profile case, it could have ripple effects throughout the entire judicial system. It might not just hurt the reputation of the courts. It could affect the country's international standing, especially when it comes to human rights and justice. We can't ignore the potential for this trial to ignite further unrest. The Southeast has already been a hotbed of political and social tension, and Kanu's case has only fanned those flames. If the trial doesn't go well, it could lead to more protests, more calls for Biafra's independence, and even more division within the country. But if the trial is conducted fairly and transparently, it could send a message to the people of Nigeria that the system works for everyone, not just the powerful elite. So, what does all this mean for you, the viewer? It's clear that we are watching a historic case unfold. This isn't just about a man in court, it's about the very fabric of Nigeria, its legal system, and its future. The next few weeks or months could change the country's trajectory in profound ways. As always, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this trial? Do you think Kanu is getting a fair chance? Do you think the Nigerian government is handling this properly, or is there something more at play here? Drop your comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay updated on this ongoing story and more. Your thoughts matter and we'll keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next update.